and welcome to this wonderful training organized by the Concerned Legislative Aids Group of National Assembly. And in today's training, being the Monday, 15th July 2024, we are going to be looking at how to use office tools, especially for those secretaries and other people. And we're going to be looking at how to use MS Word and Excel effectively. So on the part of the MS Word, I'm very sure before you can be a secretary, definitely you can do one or two things on Microsoft Word, but I'm just going to be explaining some technical part of the MS Word before we go into the Excel, so that we can quickly do more of Excel, because Excel is more technical and it requires everybody, especially the secretary, to know this part because of their monthly stipend and other things they also need to do with it. So let me go into the MSO. I'm very sure we are conversant with our screen, and I'll just be using just few things about MSO. Number one, most mistakes we always made when we actually want to type letters is when we don't know area to bold and the rest. And I want to say this very well. Every secretary should go and get their font, because one of the security you have is that you should be able to know this is a document done by you and this is a document not. So most times people don't actually get to understand the way I plan myself. If I'm putting up any document that is going outside National Assembly, there's a particular font I use for it. And the one within the National Assembly, there's a particular font I use for it. And the one within maybe the constituency, there's a particular font I use for it. Why? Because I'm using it as a security for me to know which document is actually from me, prepared by me, because most of those documents, the duplicate, the received document is always being kept by me. But at the end of the day, I try to know which one is being done at the constituency and which one is being done here in the office. So most times, let me just give you an hint of the form. Normally when you type something, people do use Time New Roman. So let's look at Time New Roman. And this is very important because some people don't pay attention into the font style they use. So you can see this is Time New Roman and we are using 12. Now, if this is Time New Roman and you are using 12, so definitely anytime you are typing document, ensure that you are maintaining that font size and font number. And if you're typing a letter, let me give an example of letter. Most times people type their letter, there's something we call block style and there's something we call intended style. So let me explain it very well. Block style is when all paragraphs, let me just put up a letter. Let me go and get a letter. ChatGPT, let ChatGPT give us a letter. Let me see if I can get a letter. A letter, okay, this is good. I need a letter to Speaker House of Rep, stating I won't be able to come to plenary tomorrow. Okay, so let's just get a letter. I don't need a sample letter, so that I will use that as an example to what we're about to do. So you can actually get all of these things on ChatGPT, get the kind of format and idea of what you are. So I've done a training video already for ChatGPT, how you can use that. So if you have not watched that, definitely you can go back later and request for that. So let me put up that here. So now we actually want to type. So you can see this style. Let me zoom it very well so that we can see it. If you can see my screen very well, just put up a comment. Let me see your comment. If you can see it clearly and you can hear me clearly, just put up a comment or put up a sign. Let me get to know, and that will be a feedback for me. All right, so now you can see this is a block style, and I want to explain the block style and the other part. So when you are typing and your name, the address, the date, and everything fall in the same line, it is called a block style. And at the end of the day, if you go to these secretariats, those are these secretariats studies, they normally put at the end, this particular place, just faithfully the name of the honorable and the rest, they normally center it. So it depends on which style you're using. But most times, it's always preferred to use a block style. And when you're using a block style, another error that we are seeing in most of the letters being typed in assembly is that many people don't put a code. They don't put the code. And that code is also very easy, also very important for you to monitor the letters. Like for instance, you can determine the code yourself. Let's say for instance, I want to type today is 15th July 2024. Now, this is where my date's supposed to be, then followed by the honorable speaker, the name of the speaker, and the rest. But if I want to send this kind of letter to speaker, definitely there will be many times that my office will be sending letter to speaker's office. So I should be able to code it. So let's say, for instance, my honorable member is MHR. So you just have to, there is no pattern to a particular code. That is one thing I just want us to understand. There is no pattern. So you need to formulate your own code of arranging your file. And that also is very good for you to have a proper filing. Now, let me give an example. I want to write a letter to speaker. So I will just put MHR. Now, if it is in within, I will put NASS. Now, anytime I'm saying NASS, that means the letter is going within the National Assembly. Then I will now put, I can start to put January /. So that means all this letter that goes in January, or at times I might not even put this. I might just put the code, maybe House of Rep or Senate, then comma, then you will now put the code. So now if it is speaker, you can put SP. Then you can now say volume 101, 001. So since you are expecting, you can put it this, and you will now put this here. So definitely when you are doing your filings, and you can actually, you are writing to speaker now, then if it's another thing that you are going to be writing to another person, maybe you are writing another letter to one member or thereabout. So you can still put NASS, MHR, House of Rep. Then this can now be member. You can formulate it mem, then volume. So this is going to a member. Or you can, if you are also doing this to different committees, and you know that your honorable member, your principals is in several committee, and you are writing letter to them, so you can give it several codes so that when you want to continue, or when you want to do your filing, this is a code that will be in your file. So once you are to now file your documents, once you get that acknowledged copy, you are just going to search for this code and do your proper filing. So anytime they are looking for, I wrote a letter to speaker the other time, can I have a copy of the acknowledged copy? So you know the file you have to pick, because in your filing, your proper filing record, you have to put, let me check a file. Now, if this is your file, you have to put the number here. So once you put the number, the code, the file code there, then it will be easier for you to know where to start from. And another thing that I do is this. Now, most of my documents that I'm using, that I'm typing from here, are just in one file. Like so many people have to open different MS Word for different purposes. No, I'm not saying your idea is not good, but the best way is this, for you to have one, so that when you actually want to move, just one copy of that, you can copy in a flash and you put it at home, or you can do what we call, if you have this, how will I put it? Let me check the name. There's something that I use, the on drive, for those of you that have on drive. So I put the same the same on drive on my own laptop and the one at home and the one on the system, so that any work that I'm doing, once I save it, if I'm to open it on my system at home, definitely I'm going to continue from where it stops. So I don't necessarily need to carry my laptop or the desktop anywhere or start copying. And that is why I use the online drive for that. So you need to understand your proper filing very well. Then another error that I'm seeing also is when it comes to this letter writing. Now, when you go to ChatGPT to go and write a letter, there is a way ChatGPT normally formulated its own letters. Then you need to edit, please, I beg you, because most time when I see letters of secretaries, I always see that it's just copy and paste. Now, ChatGPT just to assist you because it's an office assistant to assist you, while you are to do other things, do some adjustments, do some editing. I've created another video that discuss on what are the things you can actually do, how is the proper starting of the letter and other things. But I want to tell you that ChatGPT will give you powerful much ideas on that. So now another part is when it comes to bolding. Now you can also highlight these parts, bold it. When it comes to bolding, you need to highlight the name and bold it. That is very important. Your title, you need to bold it. That is very important. And most times you can underline it. So, but if you are using a block style, you might not even underline it. And at the end of the day, you should be able to, let me just open one of the document that I am using, and you will know that there is a particular code that I put in my own that is not in many people's own. Number one is the way I put my honorable member. You can see NASS document. So this is where all the letters have been typings from beginning. You can see 4th June to date. So this is where those things are being kept. So let me just open to you for us to see how I'm able to manage this. Now, at the end of the day, let me show you. You can see the font I'm using. Let me show you this. The font I'm using and the font that I use for the honorable member are different things. And that is different between me and if anybody should type something. That is my own. So you can see this font style is Bookman and this one is Somet. So you can see, and this is a code to know the letter that is coming from me, my table, and the one that only member can ask them in constituency to do, because I have to put a code to what is coming from me. And my honorable member knows that anytime they see something like this, it is from me anywhere, because you have to protect yourself as a secretary. Because if not, you know, we have secretary, we have LA, we have PAs, and we have SLA. So as a secretariat where every document are going to be kept, and you are confidential secretary to your honorable member. So you need to take this very important. Then let me go to the last part before we move to the Excel. Now, if you come to look at this, the alignment and the rest, you need to understand that this line spacing for this are too much. So normally you come to this place, let me bold it very well. The gap is always one. So either you remove paragraph or you go into this and you take it to 1. But even if you take it to 1.0, you need to even remove paragraph. There shouldn't be enough paragraph between this. And that is just most things that I have noticed. So if you have any question to ask based on what I have said so far, kindly put in the comment section, or you can raise up your hand. Let me just take one or two person. If you have any question regarding what I've just said, the filing aspect of it, because every document must be proper filed. And maybe later in the near future, there's still going to be a training. That will be a live training where we are going to do it properly, practically, how you do normal filing, because filing is very important. If not, you're going to be looking for document over document at times. So let me allow Adamu. Let me allow you. I'm coming. So you can unmute yourself. Adamu, you can unmute yourself. Let's hear from you before we move to the Excel. Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I logged in a bit late, but I met you on the coding. And you gave an example of when sending a letter to the honorable speaker, which is NASS or Senate, then SP volume 001.
Yeah.
I didn't get it clear when it comes. What if you are sending to honorable members or chairman of a committee or deputy chairman? How do we code it?
Okay, I explained that, but just briefly, I will go back again. Now, you know the one of honorable member, the speaker is this. Now, if you look at the code, you need to understand this very well. Number one, MHR is because is coming from the MHR. So if you are not MHR, if you are senator, so it can be SEN. So that explain that part. Then the next one is NASS, National Assembly. Any letter you are giving out within the National Assembly, you put NASS. If it's outside the National Assembly, maybe ministry, so you know the code you are giving to each ministry. So you can actually say, okay, Ministry of Finance, you can put FIN. So Ministry of this, you can put MFin. Ministry of Education, MEDU. MEDU. So this code will be known only to you. And that is why when you see a code, see, you cannot decode it because you are not the owner of those codes. You understand? So you need to understand the coding part. Then the next one now goes to, is it honorable member or senator? So like if it's House of Rep, House of Rep, you can put HR. If it's senator, you can put SC. You understand? So depend on you. Then the next one shows that he's speaker, because if you put HR, House of Rep, that means it's going into, the letter is within Rep. So if it's within Rep, where is it going to? XP. That means it's going to Speaker's office. So if it's not XP, if it's ordinary member, you can put MEM. Is ordinary member. So if he's a chairman to one committee and you know that you'll be typing, because another thing you have to be very careful is this, so that you not go and create a large number of codes. And you can print your code and put it somewhere close by to you. Print it and put the full meaning of those code somewhere close to you, so that in case you don't even know what the code to send to, so you can actually fall back to those codes. So you can now put, if it's ordinary member, MEM. If it's member committee on, chairman committee on, so you just abbreviate whatever code. Then the volume, so that your first letter to them will be volume 001. The second one will be 2, third, fourth, so that any letter that is going, you have to fall back to your file before you open another letter, so that you know where the last volume you did, because there will always be an acknowledgement copy for every letter coming from your table. I hope you understand that part. Mr. Adamu? Okay, I hope Mr. Adamu understand that part. Any other question? Let me just pick one more before we move to the next part. Let me just take one more person. If there is no other one, let's go to the Excel. So let's go to the Excel part, because Excel part is the actual part that we want to actually focus more, because many people, I keep hearing them that I say, me, I don't know Excel, I don't know Excel. But Excel is one of the most interesting package, and it's very easy. And it's very sweet once you know it. And I've been able to use this particular Excel to actually get promotion when I was working as a lecturer in university, because most of the scores, exam, and computation, and the rest have been done in Excel. But Excel is very simple, very straightforward. You can also use Excel to type. It's just giving you a column and a row to guide whatever you want to do. And the printing part of it, okay, let me quickly go back to the printing part of it. When you want to print here, now, one of the error we are doing is this. You need to size your letterhead. Now, we have different sizes of letterhead. And that is why if you are using one particular document to do all your letters, once you set up your column, your guide and everything, the down one, once you're able to sell your column guide, then you don't need to go and touch it again. Anything that you want to do, you know it is falling in the range of this particular letter, and you continue through that. So you don't actually need to go back there and start doing adjusting each time you want to type a letter. And that is one of the essence of you having. Then you need to put your column guide of your letterhead, write it somewhere in case you might be needing to type another document somewhere. So, and you want to print on your letterhead, you should be able to know your column. My own is 2.5 to 0.5. So definitely you should be able to know your own. So let me come back to this Excel part. Now the exact part. Now I've sent an assignment before that we are going to be looking at. So let me quickly open that. And that is going to be, there's going to be an assignment and the classwork there. So let me quickly open that, what we want to achieve. Now, this is what we want to achieve. We want to be able to teach you to understand how Excel works. And not only that, at the same time, we want to do some practical work. Now, looking at what can you use Excel to do. So the first one today is this. Now, we actually want to do this simple exercise. So I'm going to type this. In typing in Excel, you need to understand how it works very well. So I'm going to be typing this now. You can see I'm putting it. So let me do it while we are here. The reason why I did not type it before now was just I want everybody to understand this very well, because Excel is very good, sweet, but a bit technical. So I can tell you for free, anybody can do Excel. Anybody, even without a prior knowledge, you can keep practicing. And one thing about all these things is you just keep practicing for you to be perfect on it. So this is my Excel, and this is the work we actually want to do. So I want to type this thing. So I've been able to put a guide into A, B, C, D, E, F, G, the same way you are seeing it here. And I've been able to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the same way you are seeing it here. So what do you need to understand first? That this column, this line you're seeing is not going to be out if you don't instruct it to be a line. It's just a guide. Like if I want to print now, let me show you the print preview. A print preview will be like this. Let me show you a print. How print, if you want to print anything, this is how it's going to be. Can't find anything to print. Let me just type something here. Okay. Now look at it. You can see it here. That is just showing what I typed. Is not showing any line if you want to print. So that shows that all this line you're seeing is just a guide. That is the evidence that it's just a guide. So we want to type this thing. This is A. Under A, I'm not typing anything here. The second one, I'm typing MON, M-O-N. So the second one, sorry. So I will quickly type fast so that you can see I'm typing Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and the next one is total. Total. Now for the start, I was able to give you this, the column and the row, so that it will help you when you are doing your own assignments, because everybody will still have to do what I'm doing now. Breakfast. So now if you see the breakfast, and before I go on, I want to change my font. So you press Ctrl A, or you highlight what you want to do. I know there will still be a need for the practical class for this, where people are going to be live. You come with your laptop, but we'll arrange that later. So I normally use bookman. So let me highlight everything. Normally I highlight all, Ctrl A, come here, type bookman. Then I normally use my font to be 12. So then when I highlight, let me quickly arrange this. This, if you want your letter to be aligned up, let me quickly do this. Sorry, because I need to. Now, in between these two lines, if you look at it, put your mouse in between this column, you are going to see a plus. When you take it out, you are seeing a white plus. When you take it in between them, you are seeing a thick black plus. When you now click, let me show you mouse. This is click. This is right click. This is click. This is right click. So when I say click, you click. When I say right click, you click on right click. So now when you look at this now, when it gets to the positive here, let me zoom it so that we can see it very well. You can see it. When it gets to positive here, you click, you hold it and drag it. That is how to drag. Ctrl Z to take it back there. So that is how to give a shift. So like this particular breakfast, is more than the normal column. So I will click on this place and drag it, because I don't want it to be more than. So we should be able to understand that part. That is one. Secondly, if I want to give enough spacing in between them, I will just do it, come in between this one, drag it like this, and it's going to have a larger space. But one thing is that if I want to do all the spacing equally, like I want all the each row to have the same accurate spacing, what I will do is this. I will click on this column, on this row here, and highlight up to the level I want. These are the levels I want. Then I will leave it. You can see everything I've highlighted. Then I will now come in between one of them, any one of them, and now adjust it. So once I adjust one, every other one will be adjusted. You can see once I make it small, everyone will be small. So because I have highlighted everything, that means all those one, I want to give it the same accurate spacing. Now, when you give it this kind of spacing, now you can see the breakfast is down. So let's now come back here. If I want it to be up, I will click on this. If I want it to be middle, I will click here. If I want it to be down, I will click here. So it now depends on where you actually want your things to be. But I want to highlight everything and ensure it is down, it is middle. So I always prefer it to be at the center of each column. So now I've been able to do that. So let me continue my typing. Now let me type 3560 and you move to the next one. Now looking at this very well, you know, most times when you are doing something like this, you don't actually need to go and be doing comma, and the rest. So what do you have to do? When you type all the numbers, figures, if you are dealing with figures, so just highlight them and give it, you can see this comma here, comma style, give it a comma style. Now, when you give it a comma style, it comes with .00, which means it's giving you a naira or thereabout. So what you have to just do is this. It's very simple. Look at this. You can increase the number of zero, and you can also decrease the number of zero. So that is just the solution to that. Either you increase it or you decrease the number of zero. So now let me just go on and type the next one. The next one is 2163. So you can see when I'm typing 2163, it's still giving me that same old things because I have to keep doing it. So for you not to keep doing them all the time, what you have to do is just highlight all the place you need to work on, then click on the comma at the same time, reduce the number of zero, and it's settled. So each time you are to type in that column, you will not need to go back again and start doing the same thing. That is one of the shortcuts. And anytime you're saying hash, 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 it is not hash. It's because if you are doing Excel, you need to understand that the column is not fully it's not enough for this. So what you have to do, just drag it a bit. So let's go to the next one. 242405. You can see, so it's already typed. So this is lunch. This is bar, and this is snacks. Now, what are we looking at? Let me just stop here. Let me just put this 21416 12172. Then this is 3544. So I'm not going to continue. Let me assume I won't continue. Now, let's go to the total. Now, what I want to do, what is using the data given, get the sum of the figures within the range. Now, that means they want you to calculate all this total here. So when you are working with Excel, you don't naturally need to be looking for, you don't naturally need to be looking for calculator because you are working with Excel. So that is the essence of you doing Excel. What you need to do is this. Just come to the total here. Now, when you get to the total here, click on equals to. For any code you are to do in Excel, for any work you are to do in Excel, the first thing first is what? Equals to. Get to know it again. For anything you are to do in Excel, for any work you are to do in Excel, the first thing is what? Equals to. because if you want to give it a command, it must start from equals to. Now, there are several ways of doing summation here in Excel. Number one, you start from equals to, you put on sum. That is a code, sum. I'm going to give you like 3 examples, and I'm going to give you a shortcut. Now, when you put on sum, you open the bracket. You open a bracket. Now, this 3560 is falling on B3. Now, let's look at it. It's falling on, is under B in what? In row 3. So we call it B3. You can see, once you type B3, the pointer will be there. I want to sum it to what? To D what? DF3. So F3. Then you close it, the bracket. Sorry, close the bracket. Then you click on enter. Now we have written a command. If you come to this, it's giving you the answer, right? But if you come to this place, you are seeing the code. You can see this is the code. You are seeing the code. So each time you have coded this platform, anytime you are putting a figure, what is the next figure? Let's look at the next figure. The next figure is 2952. 2952. Once you press enter, the total is going to change. And that is beautiful thing about Excel, because you have coded the sheet that anytime you see a figure between B3 to F3, sum it and give it into G3. That is what it means. So the same thing you do here. So the shortcut is that if you have to do it here, you put it again equals to sum, open this bracket, B4. This will now be B4, double column to F4. Now, most time people are going to be lazy when they come to Excel class, but I'm not saying you to be lazy. And at the same time, if you choose to be lazy, when you get to the work, you are the one that will pay for it. So you can see this other part now. Then if you want to just do for the other ones, I can just copy this one and paste them here. So automatically it will figure it. So if you want to get the code, when you click on this, the code will be showing in the formation bar here. Can you see that? So what do you need to do is what? You need to give it beautification. If you complete all of these figures, everything will be right. So if I want to give it, you highlight them and give it a bold, so that at the end of the day, and the total also should be bold. So that is just the assignment 1. This is what they ask you. And you can see the number 6 here is total. Let's just do total here. Total. Now, for the total here, you want to sum this part. It's very simple. Let me give you another part. Another part is this. You can do equals to B3 plus B4 plus B5 plus B6, enter. So that is another part. You can be picking them one after the other. Now, the first one, we sum it. We have to use the code. Equals to sum, open a bracket, B3 to this. Or let's come here and do the same thing here. You can do it equals to sum, open a bracket, C3 into C6. You close the bracket, enter. So it's as simple as that. Then you can just copy the rest, just do it here. Now, each time you are putting a figure, you can say the code that you have written before will just be there. And that is why if you have your normal accounts proper, like the normal stipend, your petty cash that you normally do in office. So, and you don't know how much is remaining, honorable member is asking you. You don't need to stress yourself. Just input all the figures of the things you bought. Then the balance is just will be giving you the balance as at the time. And that is one of the excellence that the Excel is going to do for you. So if I want to add everything here, let me just put it here. So this is the figure of the entire money. So that is how it works. If you have any question on that, let me hear from you first, because I'm going to be giving you the full class on Excel is coming, but I'm just to give you one of the 2 things, to just do 1 or 2 things with Excel. Then I'm going to be giving us an assignment. When we come tomorrow, we're going to complete this part of Excel and do another part. This is just an introduction because today I have a program that I need to attend and also to attend to honorable member too. So let me take one or two questions now. If you have any question now, let me take your question. Just raise up your hand. I will enable you to ask your question. If you have any question now, raise up your hand. While we are waiting for that, let me go into the second part of this Excel. Now, the second part is going to be interesting. And that part is you need to prepare the normal proper account. Now, look at this. We want to do something like this: basic, allowance, gross salary, deduction, and net pay. So we need to do all of this. And at the end of the day, I'm going to give you an example that we are going to use. So looking at this, we want to do our own. I'm going to be giving you only the figure, and you need to get the allowance, the gross pay, deduction, and the net salary. So you need to understand the little accounting in this, which I'm going to explain a bit. Basic salary is the money that is due to you. Allowance is the benefit you enjoy. Then the gross salary means the gross salary is your base salary plus allowance is called gross salary. Then deduction, maybe deduction can come from tax and the rest. And the net pay is your take-home money. So I'm going to be giving you a figure, and looking at that figure, we are going to work something down. All right, so let's go back to the next class, which is this. Let me open a new sheet. I'm going to be talking about the other assignments. This. So the only thing I'm going to be picking here is just the basic salary. Every other things are going to be given to us because, for instance, you will know the percentage of the allowance you are going to be collecting and also the percentage of the tax you are going to be deducting from that. So let me just quickly take that aspect from here. But I also want to see us practicalizing it. In fact, it will be best for us, for those of us that are using our smartphone to join, to be practicalizing what we are showing now. Then I'm going to be sending some assignments, and if you're ready, if you send it back to me, I will look at it and I will mark it for you just to keep practicing before tomorrow. So you can see at the ABC also, let me go back here. At the ABC, I was able to put it in a way that people will get to understand it better. Now, so that it will guide you. But henceforth, my assignment will not come to guide you column and the row. So in A1, that is where you're going to type stationery. Stationery supplies limited. So that is the name of so don't forget, I have to highlight everything, change it to my font, give it to 12, then put it at the middle. And at the same time, I will adjust. You can see I've adjusted all my columns because I always like it to be good when I'm typing. Now, the next one is the next two, the row 2 will be blank. Then at the 3, I put in name. Why do I leave the blank? It's just for the spacing because this is Excel, not like Word you have to put enter. So name, basic pay, allowance, allowances, gross pay. Now, when you type like this, you can see allowance is not showing, basic pay is not showing. So you should know that you need to shift. So by now you should be able to know how to shift. Just click in between, you drag to the barest minimum that you actually wanted. So the next one is deductions, then net pay, net salary. Now, net salary is take home. So as a secretary, you should be able to do a little accounting and understand the basic things in office. So now let's type all the names. Lewis, Francis, Edwin, Bernard, Bernard, George, Albert, Edward, Connor, John, Carl. All right, so we have been able to type them. Then the basic salary is what we are going to work on. 579. I've told you don't put comma when you are typing in this. Just highlight all. I can just highlight all and just put it one comma. So because I'm dealing with Naira, I can leave it to be double 0.00. So 15,537, 15,506. That is their basic salary. So everybody have a different basic salary. 15,008. I'm going to give you more technical one for those that are going for interview or you actually want to. Some, they will not give you all this figure. They will just put everything in writing and you are the one to decode what salary pay. They can say junior staff is paid so. Junior staff is paid so. And you know how your salary rate is. You can also know that it's not equal for those secretary and the rest. So now, we have been able to do this. So let's go to the question of the day. The question of the day says this. A payroll consists of basic salary, allowances, gross salary, deduction, and net pay. Now, allowances are 23% of basic salary. That is the question. 23% of basic salary. So that means we are going to code allowance. Allowances, that means 23% of the basic salary. That is, in mathematics, 23 divided by 100 times basic salary. That is what it means. So how do you code it here in Excel? It's very simple. Now you put equals to, for everything, every code you want to do, you don't forget that the first thing you have to put is what? Equals to. So when you type equals to, then you can see 15,790. So you are not to care about the number, just care about the column. And the column the number is showing is what? Is B4. Is B4. And if you don't know the column, just go and click it. This area is going to show you here. You can see here is B4. The name box is going to show here B4. So most times, if you don't actually get to know that, just click on the figure you actually want to work on. You are going to see the code is B4. So you come back here and say equals to. So you now say B4 times. Now times is not X. Time is asterisk. Is under at the top of 8. If you check your keyboard very well, at the top of 8, you see the asterisk. Let me show you clearly. 8. Can you see it? The asterisk is there on top of 8. So now once you put asterisk, 23%, 23%. Very simple. And you click on enter. Can you see it? So it's going to give you 23% of that figure. That's all. So you have solved the allowance. So you do the same thing here, equals to, this is going to be B5 times another way. Once you know 23% is 0.23, 0.23. You don't even need to go and type 23%. Just put 0.23. So it's very simple. Then you can copy this. When you copy it, highlight the rest and press enter. So the same code will apply to all. So there is a mistake here. I put 1,000 plus. So I think it should be Edward. Edward is 14,651. So 4 is missing here. So anytime you correct what is missing, you can see because you have coded it. And that is why you don't need to help Excel. Let Excel help you. And most time, you might press the calculator and know the figure. But if you code it, then you don't need to help Excel. Let Excel be the one solving most of the problems. So what is gross pay? Gross pay is the addition of the basic salary and the allowance is gross pay. Simple. Just press equals to. It will now be B4 plus C4. B4 plus C4. Simple. The same thing applies to this. If you have any question here, let me just You raise up your hand. At any point in time you have any question, just raise up your hand. Just click, or you go to the comment section and type so that I can pay attention to you. If you have any question, kindly raise up your hand. It's very important. It's very important, because that is why we are here live, not watching a recorded training. You have to participate if you have any question. So now let's go back to it. Gross pay is what? You have to sum of basic salary and allowances is gross pay. Now, then deduction is tax, and we are given here what deduction is. They said allowances are 23% of the basic pay, while deduction are 12% of the gross pay. So we know the gross pay now, and that is going to be what? 12% of this. The same way we have been able to code this gross pay, we are also going to code that part too. So how do we code it? It's equals to, don't forget the first thing is equals to, what is the column of the note of the gross pay is D4, equals to D4 times 12%. Or you said equals to D5 times 0.12. So either of the two, we are good, and you do that to the rest. Then let's go to the next pay. What is the next pay? They now say in the given worksheet, indicate in each of the cell what will be inserted. That is the value in the case of the formula. Write down the formula in the cell. So they are asking you to write the formula you are going to code in the cell. So is exactly what we have been able to do. Now let's come to the net pay. What is net pay? The gross pay minus deductions. So gross pay, what is gross pay? Gross pay is equals to D4 minus E4. That is it. And that gives us our what? Our net pay. Simple. That is what they are asking us to do. If you have any question, let me take your question now. Any question so far? Raise up your hand, question, because I'm going to the last one. Then I will now give you classwork. Any question? Okay. I think everybody is getting it right. Okay. Now let's go to the next one, which is the last one. Now, the last one is showing this. A company that is giving us this hour, using the information given in the table below, calculate the total pay companies to pay the employee. Now, what is the total pay? Somebody have hours worked is 5, rate is 70, and amount is this. Rate is this, amount is this, and the work hour is 5. So you have to look at how much are you going to the company, what total amount pay the company is going to pay. So already they have been able to solve it. They have been able to multiply 5 by 70. All they are asking you is to sum the total, which is this amount, the 350, 500, 500, 400, you have to sum it together and give it here. But they expect you to type it. So let me now come back into printing. If you actually want to print this, now this particular stationery supply, because if you want to print, this is how the printing is going to look like. But this is not the best way it's supposed to look. So now this is supposed to be both, and this is supposed to be centered. So if you want to put this to be centered, we already know the guide. So you highlight it together, and there's something we call merge. Merger cell. This is it. Let me show it well. This is it, the margin cell. Merge and center. So when you click on it, you can see it will merge it together and center it. And at the same time, you can increase the font or you can decrease the font, depending on how you want it. And look at it. Then when you want to print, it's going to show very well. So in printing aspect also, if you want the lines to show, how do you enable the lines to show? Then I want to highlight this to be capital. Then you make it bold. You make this bold too. Then sorry that I'm pressing shortcut. When you highlight them, you click on bold. Then I want the lines to show. If you want the lines to show, highlight where you want the lines to show, and you can see the line space now. So I want all the lines to show, all borders. So I'll click on all borders. All borders will be showing. So if you want to print, look at it. The line borders are now showing. So if I want this particular one to be thick, all the lines to be thick, that is the top edge of the lines to be thick, I'll come here again and click on thick outside box border. So let me print and see. You can see the outside border is being highlighted thick. So if you also want this part to be thick, what do you have to do? You do it from here, basic salary to this to be thick also. So this is just to give it a kind of beautification. That is what all the lines are for, to give them a beautification. So I've been able to do that. Let's look at the printing. You can see it now. It's now making more sense. So this is just an additional part for you to know how to thicken the line and how to do all of those. There are still other things for you to learn in Excel, but this is just a how will I put it? This is just what everybody that knows MS was supposed to know. And that is why I'm just giving you a simple tips that everybody should be able to know: how to do your calculations, how to do your subtraction, and how to do your multiplication. Those are the key things that is very paramount to our work here. And you can also do that. Let me just give you another example to income and expenditure. Let me open another bar to income and expenditure. If you want to create your income and expenditure in your office, it's very simple. And like I said, right click all, change my font to Bookman, then give it 12, highlight it and make it bold. So now, after I've done all of that, what do I need to do? You need to understand that income comes and we have expenditure. So what I do is I peel them the way they comes. The normal way, let me show you the normal way. I will put on the date. I don't separate my income and expenditure because I collect money and I dispense immediately. So what I do is the date, the particulars. The next will be, I will now put in the money. So you can decide to put your income. So, but I normally put my expenditure first, followed by income, and followed by balance. So you can see it. You can also do that in your office. It's very key, and the balance. So you need to code it. I'm going to code it before I will start inputting it. Now, balance is, let's say, 1st of January, 1st January, 01/01/20, or you can put 01 January / 2024. Now you can see it like this. All right, so the particulars. Now you can decide for this to be here. Then the particulars, I can give it enough space and said, NEPA. Okay, I can say member or received or income from honorable. How much you are given? You are given 1 million. So most times I always tell people, you might not put comma because you are working with figures. Just type your 1 million, highlight all where you need figures, click on this comma here. It's going to give it a normal proper way. You can see it. So I can bring this close because my figures will not be more than millions. So now balance is this. Now the figure of my balance is, I will now say equals to, now this is where the balance coding is, equals to this minus this, equals to this. Now you need to understand the coding part very well, which is what? Equals to income first minus expenditure. That is the first page. Now, most times also, you can leave this, if you want to do it the proper accounting way, let me take all of this off and just says balance, maybe the date will remain January 2024. I put in balance brought down, brought forward. How much is it? Maybe it's just 0, 0. 0, it's going to be on the income side, 0, 0, 0, 0. So what you do is this, for the balance part equals to this minus this. That is the balance. So the day you started, you are not giving any money. Maybe the next day, the same date, the next day, member received from honorable is 1 million. Now, how do you do it? And this is the only place you need to code, only the balance side. That is the only place you need to code. And that is the only place that is needed to be coded. It's only the balance side you need to code. So how do you code the balance side? It's very simple. Now, you know your balance. Your balance is coming up. This is up. E what? E4. Now, E4, you need to add E4 to your income. Now, we are to code the last part now. Sorry for the network. We are going to the last part now. We are to code the last part, and that is the balance side is only area that is needed to be coded. The balance side is the only area that is needed to be coded. So how do you code it? The balance that you're picking up, the balance that you're bringing, what do you have to do with it? You need to add it to your income. So when you add the balance to your income, it will be equals to, the balance is E4, or just click on it, plus the income minus the expenditure. Simple. So when you just click on this, right click on this, and you just drag down to as much area as you want, because you are still going to be maintaining that same page. So your balance is showing 1 million. Then you can click on this column from the up and click on both. Highlight everything, 1 million. So each time you are now spending some, maybe office paper or A4 paper, you have to buy A4 paper to be 25,000. Like I said, don't type command, just type the figure. It will keep removing it, and later pay to, so your normal expenditure, pay to SLA 50,000 or 500,000 thereabout. So each time you keep doing that, you will be able to know. And anytime another income is coming, received from honorable member again, you go and put it at the income side. Then the money increase. So this is just a normal way to program your day-to-day spending as a secretary and maintain the office running. You will not put yourself in a problem. All you have to just do is what? Ensure that you always lock in the daily expenses at the end of the day, put in a date, and you are going to be seeing the balance that's supposed to be with you, and that will not put you in a trouble. If you like what you're seeing and it's okay, go to the comment section, because we have come to the end of today's class. And if you have any other question, now let me just make a room for question. If you have question now, you can raise up your hand and ask your question. Question time now. Let me take one or two questions. If you have question, let me just give you a brief of what is coming up tomorrow. Now, at the tomorrow's class, we are going to do a bit advanced way of Excel in tomorrow's class. And aside that, I'm going to be giving you a short way on how you, as a secretary, that you have the system, like the system we are giving to us. What can you do at your leisure time that you can actually At the end of the month, you can be making one or two things home as an extra income. Is the area I'm going to be explaining tomorrow. That's your passion. That's your knowledge, what you know, what you think you know, or what you know, or what you want to know. I'm going to show you how you can turn it into making money, because that's my passion that I have. The passion that I have that I'm showing right away is exactly what is giving me an extra income monthly, because I'm putting them free of charge on the internet with little training I'm going to be giving to you. You too can put your own internet, and that can be giving you a monthly income, extra income while you are in the office, because we at some point we are so much busy, and at some point we are very free at the office. So we need to learn other things that can be giving us an extra income. That is what tomorrow's training is all about. And that tomorrow's training is coming up 12 noon, and it's going to end by 1:30. Just see you in our next class tomorrow. Bye.